Hello. There you are. Live.
Good morning, everyone. Another beautiful spring day in Minnesota. And we are in Burnsville, Minnesota, and I hope everyone's doing well out there as we are into the third week of the shelter at home from Governor Walz. And again, hopefully everyone is doing well. This morning, I'd like to start off with a brief introduction of the people that make not only this Facebook Live presentation possible, but the folks that make my life possible. And that's my wonderful family. And our oldest is RJ Shea, and he's an attorney practicing in New York City, which was the epicenter of the coronavirus. So big shout out to RJ. He's been a tremendous resource for us. And then we have everyone else, and I think they're all here. You can kind of gather around and just say hi. And a photo of them in the background. So there we are. They're, okay. Yep. They sometimes have to, they carry me. So it's Kelsey Shea.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Shea.
There's Kelsey. And Kelsey, she's the technical whiz, the communication whiz.
No.
You just like to whiz. No.
And I'm here full time, but I live in Chicago. But I'm happy to be here with my family and support my dad. So that's me.
That's Kelsey. And then there is next in line, Megan Shea.
Hi, I'm Megan. Go Kevin Shea.
Okay.
And why are you here?
Yeah, Megan, what do you do? What are you going to do for the rest of your life?
Figuring it out, but I'm in med school right now, just finishing up my second year and studying for my first round of boards at home.
There's Megan, and she's helped with the technical side as well and proofreading. Yeah, she is a good proofreader.
Copy editor. I am a copy editor.
Yes. Yep. And then up there. Oh, up there.
Oh, hi, I'm Corey.
Okay.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
woman, a few words.
Schaefer said it.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Pretty original. So that's Corrigan Shea. No, seriously. So Corey graduated from the University of Wisconsin, and she is considering a whole bunch of different career moves. One, maybe we'll have another lawyer in the house. You never know. Yikes. And then there is Nolan Shea. There's Nolan.
How's it going, everyone?
Yep.
I'm a senior in high school, and I'm headed to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities next year.
Go Gophers!
Row the boat.
Yeah, there you go. And Nolan is also our resident barber. So he promised me he'd give me a trim today. So I don't know. This could be payback time. So the next time you see me, I might either have a mohawk or a chrome dome, which is kind of heading that way anyway.
I don't know if there's enough for a mohawk.
Yeah, so it might just be chrome dome. In any event, thank you for everyone. These are the folks that make everything possible. Thanks.
Thank you.
And then the star of the show is my beautiful, lovely wife, Jane. And she's a little camera shy. But so anyway, Jane and I have been married almost 35 years. And I'd like to say every day was just blissful. But we all know that politicians like to embellish, and that would be an embellishment. So in any event, she's just wonderful and obviously an inspiration to not only me, but all our entire family. And we are just really thankful for obviously all the blessings we've had. And Jane has just been such a terrific person in our life. She's very successful, has a very successful career of her own. And you can see, because I'm surrounded by all these very accomplished, strong women, why I am a consummate feminist. And you cannot help but be a feminist when you're surrounded by these beautiful, strong, accomplished women. So with that, Jane would like to say a few words.
I just wanted to take a couple minutes. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you for your support of Kevin. I was with Kevin when he was studying for the bar exam before practicing law, and he worked tirelessly to accomplish that goal. And when I watch him now, the effort he's putting in is even 100 times more. He's working so hard to gain the support of District 56. So I know that he will be a great senator. I just wanted to add just a couple things. When we were first married, I had my career. Kevin also was running a practice, doing contract work. And Kevin at that time wanted to get involved and was involved with making our community a better place. And he had considered running for a position in the legislature, but we had little kids and he had a wife that was working, and he decided at that time he just couldn't make a full commitment to that. And I respect that, because he ended up coaching, being home when the kids were sick, being on the PTA. He had all kinds of community volunteer work that he did. And now that our kids are at that age where they don't necessarily need us in that same way, he's decided that the time is right. So I am fully supportive of this and excited for him. And I'm really excited for the people of Minnesota and Senate District 56, because just wait to see what he has in store for us. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, just went to PG-13. Thanks, honey. That was beautiful. Of course, again, she must have some political blood in her, because she was embellishing there a little bit as well. No, that was very kind. And so anyway, you met the Shea family. So let's move on. Again, want to welcome you. This is our third installment of the Facebook Lives, and they have really been a joy. The first two, we got some tremendous feedback on, and some great questions, and some follow-up questions even after they were completed. And those two actually are posted on our website. So if you do want to go back and take a look at those, feel free to do so. And I've been told that they can also cure insomnia. So I'm just full of jokes today. No song and dance though. So that, again, this has been really a wonderful experience, but it's another way we can pivot towards more of a remote campaigning rather than the door-to-door. Which we're looking forward to at some point during the campaign. Let's see. The next thing. Oh, we have a question. All right. We have three questions.
So Kelly is wondering, and then we kind of had another question for Marcia about this too, about the protest at Governor Walz's house yesterday. If you could comment on that.
Right. There was a protest, and I believe they were mostly pro-Trump protesters that were trying to coerce Governor Walz into so-called reopening the Minnesota economy. The ironic part about it, and Dr. Elise Mann, our wonderful state representative, alluded to this as well, in one of her posts, is that Minnesota has become a model for how to handle this COVID-19 pandemic. Our curve is way down, our deaths are way down, our healthcare providers are all ramped up, the Mayo Clinic is chipping in with more testing, and despite the lack of leadership and many resources from the federal government, Minnesota is coming through this as one of the strongest states. And as has been said by Governor Walz, the healthcare providers, epidemiologists, even Dr. Fauci with the Trump administration, that if we loosen up on this too soon, we could jump right back in to a more severe pandemic. So obviously, we all want to get back to work. We all want to get back to a sense of normalcy. But this particular pandemic can be ruthless in the way it bounces back. So I think our state government's doing the right thing, and hopefully we'll all be back and doing, life as usual once this all clears.
Thanks, Dad. Kind of off of that question, we have a question from Marcia. You kind of already answered this, but as a business owner, what do you think about the governor's stay-at-home order? And then what do you think about the largely Republican protest against the restrictions? And how would you work with people who see things differently than you?
Yeah, I think I answered the part about the protesters.
Yeah.
So hopefully that addresses your concern, Marcia. And maybe I'll take that last question first. How would I deal with people that don't see the way I see? Well, the last 34 years, and this kind of segues into the first part of the question, as a business owner, I dealt with a lot of people that had differing opinions than I did. And really, that's the art of negotiation and finding win-win solutions. So obviously, we'd all like to have change rapidly, and certainly we will push for that, and we will never compromise on our core values. However, sometimes change can happen incrementally, and there's many, many examples of that. And so I think the most effective leaders, particularly I can cite examples like Amy Klobuchar and Governor Walz. Obviously, they are working in a divided government environment where there's one body of the government. In our particular case, it's the Minnesota State Senate. We like to flip that to a DFL majority, but right now it is not. And so you, by necessity to get things done, have to reach across the aisle. That does not mean that we compromise on our values. So that's the answer to that. As far as the businesses are concerned, I know firsthand what's that doing to our business, and it's really stifling it. A lot of our clients, a lot of dentists are shut down, and that's very difficult. There's not a lot they can do to alleviate this from a remote standpoint. It's still hands-on, so that's very difficult. I know there are some relief packages out there that help us get through this part, and the sooner we can get open, the better. But at this stage, we have to rely upon the experts, and hopefully we will bounce back after this pandemic clears. Everybody wants to get back to work as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Dad. We have a question from Kelly too, which I really appreciated. She said, your family looks to be very close even after all this togetherness. What activities does your family enjoy during the stay at home? We are playing Uno and trying new recipes.
Yeah. Well, Kelly is our all-star. She has tuned into all three. So thanks again, Kelly, for that. You think we get along, you ought to see us about 9 o'clock at night, especially after a big game of gin rummy or something, or Uno or Catan, which I've been introduced to. So that gets a little ruthless. But seriously, what are the neat things that's happened with this, the pandemic? Of course, nobody wishes for this, but it has allowed people to get really creative in what they do, and do some very creative things. We haven't done so much creative things as we've been doing things that we've been putting off. I have been working a lot on the campaign, and again, I'm very appreciative to my family for that, allowing me that latitude. And so what they've been doing, Megan, as you mentioned, studying for the boards. Corey's got a job that she's in, and Jane's still hard at it with her job. Kelsey as well. But in their spare time, they are purging our house of all the clutter that's accumulated over the last 35 years. So again, that's not very exciting nor creative, but it is necessary. And then, of course, we're doing a lot of outdoor activities since the weather's turned and so forth. Okay. All right. Any more questions out there? Otherwise, there's another topic I wanted to address.
There's none right now.
Okay, good. Yep. All right. So let me just address the online voting. Again, this is a new program because of the environment we're in. And so all the voting for the upcoming endorsement will be online. What that means is that the delegates out there, for all you folks that are delegates, will be receiving a online or email ballot. All right. Now, I suppose if you were tuned into this, you'd probably have an email and a computer, but there will also be provisions for folks that don't have emails to do it by ballot. What would happen then is that once you get the ballot, you'll be able to vote online and you'll be able to send that back. And it'll be pretty self-explanatory. It'll all be in a Google form. We'll also have ranked choice voting, and there's more information about both of those, the online balloting and also the ranked choice voting on our website. And so go on there. And on the other hand, if you do have questions after you view the website, feel free to get in touch with us. Our email address is on the website, and that's Kevin Shea, mnsenate@gmail.com. Our web address is sheamnsenate.com. So please feel free to get in touch with us there. Exciting times. Whatever you do, make sure you vote. Oh, one last thing on that. You'll be able to vote both ways during a 10-day window. And that window is going to run from April 25th, which is a week from today, through May 4th, which is a Monday. So anytime during that span. So vote early, and that would be great. But if not, make sure you do vote. We'll be able to follow up with you. But please remember, if you get that email, if you don't get that email by next Wednesday, the 22nd, 23rd, please get in touch with us and we'll make sure that you get the ballot. Okay.
Okay, we have another question on the Bill of Rights and what your position is on that.
Well, I'm assuming you're referring to the Immigrant Bill of Rights because we as a country have a Bill of Rights, but which is great. And actually, the Immigrant Bill of Rights is similar to the Immigrant Bill of Rights. And what this means is that we as a state would recognize the rights that our immigrants have. Even though they're not citizens of Minnesota, they still should be afforded certain rights that our citizens have. So, and I think part of that is really understanding the immigrant story. And there's so much misunderstanding. And that's what happens, as once was said, most prejudices are born out of ignorance. And that's just because people don't know about the immigrant story. And immigrants are such a vital economical and particularly cultural asset to our state. They also are less likely to be unemployed. They're less likely to break the law. This is amazing. They pay immigrants, our immigrant community in the state of Minnesota pays over $87 million a year in state taxes. Yet they receive just a fraction of that back in benefits, even though they're contributing to other social services and other services that our state provides. They also contribute to our overall economy of about $8 billion annually. And so part of the Bill of Rights is to restore driver's license to immigrants. They would still have to take a driver's test, so it's obviously a safety and identification. more times than not, they're going to be driving. And if they're driving without some of those safety precautions, obviously that can be dangerous. In addition, there'd be access to health care in the state of Minnesota, because we all know if you don't have health care, that can lead to a whole series of troubles for you. A lot of other social services, but I think the key there is we as a community have to understand that immigrant story. Once you understand that, once you know their culture, once you know those folks, you understand it's just going to come naturally. So I am a supporter of the Immigrant Bill of Rights.
Thanks, Dad. We have another question from Kelly. Do you think this pandemic will fundamentally change how Americans as a whole view social issues such as healthcare, livable wage, and affordable higher education / loan forgiveness or modification?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes out of hardship comes a deeper understanding. Of course, that came out of the Great Depression, when our unemployment rate was 25-30%. And what it ended up is enacting a number of programs today that we cherish, like Social Security, like safety nets, not Medicare, that happened in the 60s, but also some programs that just showed that there is a place for those that are forgotten, those that are going through hardship. Again, that's one of the core principles that I think about being a DFLer and a Democrat, is we always look out for the marginalized. And one of the things we've done in our campaign is reach out to those communities that sometimes have never had a voice and never had a place at the table. So hopefully this pandemic, some good will come out of it in that respect. That remains to be seen. Again, there's a lot of hardship going on right now, and we hopefully that's alleviated as quick as possible. One thing I have to point out, and I've mentioned this before, that this pandemic has shown what a great assets our schools are. And I was talking to somebody who is on a delegate who's on the Prior Lake School Board, and he was telling me that the Prior Lake school system, which has a little slice of District 56, is serving almost 4,000 meals a day to the community, to their students. And again, just an example of how our schools are so much more than educational institution. Obviously, that's their primary responsibility, but also they become just such a great community asset. So again, a shout out to them, our healthcare providers, all our first responders, all those folks that are taking care of us during this very difficult time.
Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't she say that so sweetly? Thanks, Dad.
So just a couple of shout outs to people joining us. We have Warren Lee and Roger Nord. Marcia and Kelly have asked some questions, and we have Joan joining us. And then Mike Brenner just joined too. So thanks for joining, everyone. And then we have another question from Marcia too, if you're ready for that.
Okay. Thanks, Marcia. Thanks for everybody for joining us. I know some familiar names there. I've talked to many of you, pestered some of you by calling multiple times, but that's one of the great joys I have, is being able to interact with everybody in District 56. You really find out what absolutely tremendous people we have, and some of the stories that they have, their life stories, are very remarkable. And really an inspiration to myself, and probably an inspiration to everyone.
Thanks, Dad. So Marcia is asked, she said, the pandemic has revealed serious inequities across the state in terms of internet access. How would you deal with this problem?
Well, I know one of the initiatives of the Walz administration is universal broadband, particularly in the rural areas. And certainly I think that's something that we should stress, because what that does is it does two things. Obviously, it evens the playing field as far as access to Wi-Fi, the internet, and so forth. But it's also an economic development because now that brings commerce to rural areas that otherwise wouldn't have that available to them. So it's critical that we do that. And, it's almost like building another interstate highway system. We know how that connected the United States back in the 50s and throughout the country. And so having broadband throughout those areas, I think is critical, not only for us socially, but also economically to have that broadband and internet service throughout our state.
Thanks, Dad. And then there's no new questions right now. If
Okay.
you wanted to talk about, I know you want to talk about the postcard.
Yeah. Well, the postcard, we're really proud of this. So let me see. I'll try to get a better view. So this is like looking into a mirror because everything's backwards. But hopefully you've received this yet. If not, maybe in the next day or so. So this is a postcard. And again, this postcard here that we sent out is kind of symbolic of our campaign. And what it shows is all the great people that I just mentioned, but also, the people that we really want to reach out to. So we have Joanna up there in the corner with glasses. Joanna has type 1 diabetes. And again, she struggled with getting good, affordable insulin, and we just passed the bill. And again, unfortunately, immigrants were excluded from that, something that needs to be corrected. Right next to Joanna in the top row is Hamdi. Hamdi is a great supporter of us. It's a nice picture of her too. And she's a dental hygienist, another great, and her husband is actually doing the testing for the COVID-19. So it's always a concern for Hamdi because obviously her husband is exposed to that on a daily basis. And then next to them are the Osikis, friends of ours, kind of fixtures in Burnsville. Bev has worked in 191 for a long time, teacher. Same with Tom Osiki, and he is a Hall of Fame hockey coach. Has several hockey state championships. And then just below that is Kelly, who just called in with us. Kelly is not only an educator, but an Air Force veteran. And I think of 21 years, is that right? 21 years. Kelly's great. Again, one of those inspirational people. Across from her are the Smalleys, educators. Again, really active in the community. Amy's been in 191 for 2-3 decades now. Right below the Smalleys, Ryan's a senior at Burnsville High School. If you get a chance, we have videos of all these folks on our website, and go in and see Ryan's. I mean, that guy should be running the school. He's involved with everything. He's on the student council. He's on Young Life. He makes popcorn. He's doing everything over there. Just again, and one of those remarkable people. And then there's Dr. Barb Sterner. Again, Barb has been out here for over 3 decades. And many of you may have her as your family physician. Barb, great friend of ours and terrific physician as well. And then last but not least, that's Isaac. He's another young voter, part of our stress in getting those first-time voters, getting them involved in the political system, because that's really where it all starts. I mean, back in my day, I actually worked for George McGovern when I was younger than they were, and that's where it all started. So, you get this a yearning to get in the political process. So that's our postcard. You go on there, and there's videos of other people in there as well, some other real inspirational stories, including everybody at that postcard. But that, again, is one of the outreaches we have, is diversity in our community, inviting those people into the big tent. That's what the DFL is all about, getting all those communities involved in the political process, because all of those folks need a place at the table. All of those people need a voice. And that's what we're all about, is trying to hear those voices and so that they are properly represented, so that we're representing all the communities in District 56. Okay, I'm getting this one.
Wait,
That's the wrap up.
Sorry, we have one more question.
Oh, we have one more question. Okay.
Okay, so this is from Mike Brenner.
Okay. Hi, Mike.
Just a general question. It seems to me that people just don't take election choices other than national offices and at the governor level as serious as they should. You folks really do the important work that impacts all of us. How do you/we get people to get really interested at this level? Probably more true now than ever, given stresses related to the pandemic.
Well, that's a great question. And I think it kind of dovetails what I was just speaking about. And that's really, it starts with involvement. Because I think a lot of times we think that it's, things are just happening sort of over there, and that I really don't have a voice. If the first thing is we need to reach out to those folks. You're never going to go to a party if you don't get an invitation to that party. And so we need to reach out to those folks and tell them that they actually do have a voice and actually people do care. And once you do that, you feel this yearning and this power that you really can make a difference and your concerns really can be heard. But when there's walls that are put up or there are exclusions that are made, that's when people turn off. And because what you really discover is that we really do, it sounds sort of cliche, but we really do have more in common than we have our differences. We certainly do have our differences, but when we can build those coalitions, I think that makes people want to be part of the process. So thanks, Mike. I'm sure he is a big Golden Gopher fan, and I'm sure he's very happy to see one of the Sheas going to the University of Minnesota. Okay, so again, I'm getting one of these wrap-ups. Before we leave, tomorrow, which is the what is tomorrow? It's the 19th, Sunday. There is a what's called a candidates meet and greet. It's being put on by Fair Vote, which is a group that has the ranked choice voting. It's at 2:00, so you can tune in for that. But again, thank you so much for joining us today. These have been a lot of fun. If in fact we didn't get to your question or you'd like to contact us, please go onto our website and check it out. It's SheaMNSenate.com. Again, thanks very much for joining us. Make sure you vote. Kevin Shea, Minnesota State Senate.
And together?
And, almost forgot. And okay, here we go. Gather around. Okay, on three. 1, 2, 3. Together, let's keep Minnesota moving forward. Bye-bye.
Bye.